Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome back. I'm Jeannie and I have some new to me colors from 915 Aesthetics. So I chose a couple to use for today's mani, and I think these colors are beautiful and I think they're perfect for spring and summertime. But more importantly, I think they pair perfectly with this stamping plate that I'm excited to use. This is the new collaboration plate between Maniology and Sip and Dip, and as soon as I saw this plate, I knew I had to have it, especially because I love Chelsea from Sip and Dip. She is just a beautiful human being and an amazing content creator, so I'm definitely excited to finally be using this plate. I'm jumping right into my mani and I'm using my 915 Aesthetics dip liquids, and I'm starting with Aqua. So I always like to start with my solid dip powders first. I'll cap them clear, activate it, and then I'll move on to any shimmers or foils or glitters. So I do have two solids for this mani, but I'm only going to do one color at a time because I have a tendency to accidentally dip my fingers in the wrong colors. I like to just avoid that and dip one color at a time. So I'm starting off with my first layer of Aqua, and I applied a thin, even layer of dip base to my entire nail. And then I'm dipping my finger into Aqua. And what I did notice is I didn't get really great coverage. So you can see it's kind of sparse. So I decided to dip back in the jar again, just in case I didn't dip well enough. And I think it was just that the dip base dried really quick on my first layer, so I didn't get really great coverage. But I'll do, I think, 2 more layers anyway, so it's going to be fixed with the second and third layer anyway, so it's not really a big deal. But I did also want to mention that. And the other thing I'll say is because the jars are so small, I had a little bit of problems dipping into the jar, so I decided to just pour the jar into my Chaos Gemerald, and I would dip into it that way, and that way I don't have to worry about powder spilling over or getting my finger or my nail to fit in the jar. So that just kind of makes it a little bit easier. I dusted off the excess powder, so now I'm going in with layer 2 of Aqua. So I'm starting with a thin, even layer of that dip base on my entire nail. And then I'm going to dip my finger into that Chaos Gemerald, is where I poured the rest of my jar of Aqua into. And then you can see here for the second layer, it's full coverage. You can't even tell that my first layer was as sparse looking as it was. So really happy with the way this is looking. And of course, I cleaned up my cuticle area. I wanted to make sure that I didn't have any excess product on my skin. And I debated for a while whether I wanted to do a third dip of Aqua or whether I wanted to do my normal process of capping in clear after my 2 dips. But I decided I wanted a little bit more opacity, a little bit more of that color of Aqua to pop. So I decided to go ahead and do a third layer of Aqua. And I find with 915 Aesthetics, their solid dip powders, that I don't really have to worry about splotchiness if I kind of buff on top of that color. Some colors you do have to worry about that, which is why I cap and clear. I don't really run into that issue with 915 Aesthetics, which is why I decided to go ahead and do a third dip of Aqua and then just activate that and file and buff on top of that rather than doing a cap and clear. I know there are some people who just never cap any of their colors in clear, but I don't know. I'm just paranoid because I don't want it to look splotchy and have to start over. So I'd rather normally just play it safe and cap in clear because there's no harm. As long as I have like the color payoff that I want, as long as I have the opacity that I want, like I don't need the third dip of color. So that's kind of why I do that third dip in clear. But I just decided for this mani that I would just do 3 dips of the color. So really, it's just personal preference on whether you want to cap your mani in clear or not. I mean, I would strongly suggest it if you're working with glitters because you don't want to file through the colors of your glitter. But for like solids and shimmers, it may not be necessary. It may be overboard. I don't know. That's just my personal preference. So anyway, I've moved on to my next color. So this is Mango, which is kind of like a light pink coralish color, which honestly with the name Mango, I would have expected it to be more orange, but regardless, it is such a beautiful color. I love this color, but I'm going to do 3 dips of this as well, just because I did that for Aqua. And this is going to go on my index finger and pinky. I'm actually only going to show you 1 dip because I really want to get to the stamping and it's repetitive anyway. So I'm going to hop off, let you watch for a little bit, and then I'll be back. I finished up with my 3 dips of each color on all my nails, so I went ahead and activated my nails. And the reason I activated my nails is because I'm going to be working with glitter next, and glitters will not stick to activated nails. I didn't want to be working with the glitter and have a stray glitter get on my solid nail and stick, because nothing would drive me nuts more than just like this one little piece of glitter on a nail that's supposed to be solid. So I like to protect my solids first before I move on to the glitters. So this is Tuiti Fruiti. It's a bit of a chunkier glitter, but it was so easy to work with and it laid so flat. I was really happy with this glitter. I mean, not to mention that it's gorgeous anyway, but regardless of that, I still do my chunky glitter method. So for my first layer, I applied my thin, even layer of dip base, and then I like to pour my glitter over my nail for my first layer. And the reason I do this is because I want to catch less of the larger glitter pieces. Larger glitter pieces don't really stick when you're pouring over, not as much. So I catch more of just the acrylic dip powder, the smaller glitters, the finer shimmers if they're in there. And the reason I don't want to pick up a bunch of the larger glitter pieces is because I'm going to do 2 dips and I want to reduce bulk. So if I were to dip and have a bunch of the larger glitter pieces on my first layer, and then I dipped a second layer and got more of the larger pieces on top of that, that would create bulk having glitter on top of glitter. So I always just prefer to do 1 layer where it's less of the larger glitters and worry about the larger glitters being on my nail for my second layer, because that's going to be the top layer. But I will say with this glitter, I think I probably could have gotten away with 1 dip if that's what I wanted to do. Like I would have just laid my finger flat in the glitter just to concentrate, get more of those larger glitter pieces in my first layer. If there are any bare spots, I probably could have just done a little bit of glitter placement, and I think that would have probably been really great coverage. But I just decided to do it this way and do 2 dips of the glitter. I poured the rest of my jar of Tuiti Fruiti into my Chaos gem mold, and you saw me shake it a little bit, and that's to bring some of the chunkier glitters to the surface. Because they're heavier, they tend to sink, and I do want to make sure that I pick up more of those larger pieces on my second layer, which is why I kind of shook it to bring them to the surface. So I dusted off the excess powder, so now I'm going in with my dip base. I'm applying a thin, even layer of dip base to my entire nail, and then I'm going to lay my finger flat into the glitter. So I'm going to kind of choose a spot where it looks like it has the most amount of glitter pieces that I want to pick up, and I'm going to lay my finger flat in, and that's going to pick up a bunch of the glitters. You'll see that coverage. It's really jam-packed full of glitters. I had this design in my head that one of the stamps would be like the guide and an outline for some glitter on my Aqua nail. So before I do that, I want to make sure that my nail is nice and smooth and buffed and filed before I get into the stamping. And that's because I don't want to put my stamping on something rough and have the stamp look a little off or a little bumpy. So I want to make sure that everything is smooth. So here's where I kind of say where the 915 aesthetics, I don't have any problem buffing on top of. It doesn't get any splotchiness or anything like that, even though I buffed on top of it, which I love. While I start my stamping process, let me tell you why I was so excited about this plate. If you don't know, Chelsea is one of the main reasons why I'm even here on YouTube. She is one of the ones, among many, who kept pushing me to start my own channel, to start making videos. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do it. I was really hesitant. They kept encouraging me. So I am so thankful for Chelsea for pushing me out of my comfort zone, encouraging me, being my support system. So of course I wanted to support her back and buy this amazing plate. But to be honest, even if it wasn't a collab plate, I would have bought it anyway, just because I think the designs in here are so cute. And actually, I've been on YouTube for almost 2 years now. I think 2 years will be in August, and I don't think I've ever talked about why I'm here or how it started. So now you know one of the main reasons I'm here is because of Chelsea. She encouraged me and pushed me to start the channel. And as she likes to say, I joined the sandbox. But I will say, so for years now, I've been doing lives on the iGel Beauty Facebook page. Actually, even before iGel Beauty, when it was the previous owner of Peppy Gel, I did lives on their Facebook business page. So that's kind of where it all started, is doing lives on the Peppy Gel Facebook group. And then I started lives in the iGel Beauty Facebook group. And it's because I really love teaching. I love trying to help people. I love trying to explain things, even though sometimes I explain badly because I just don't have the words in my head. I really enjoy it. But what I really enjoy about the lives is the interactive aspect of it. Even though you can't actually talk back to me, you could write comments to me, and so I could respond to that. So it was like I was having a conversation with a friend while I was doing a Mani live. And obviously it's longer, it was an hour, hour and a half, because it was a Mani from end to end. It was a little quicker because I didn't want to spend a live, a Mani may really take me 2 to 3 hours, but I did a little bit quicker because it was live and I didn't want to hold people hostage, but I really enjoyed that. So it was really the tutorial aspect that I love about it. And so, but when it came to YouTube, I was really worried about the time commitment it took for editing, and then it was more of a public place. So was I opening myself up to vulnerability of being more open to the public, where a Facebook group is more private? But I guess I needed that push because I definitely have no regrets for being here. I'm really enjoying this, and I'm really enjoying having you all here as well. So that's the main reason why I'm here, is I had some really good friends who pushed me outside of my comfort zone, who encouraged me, who supported me. And of course, there's the extra added benefit, definitely not the main reason, but there is an extra benefit of making a little side money by having this channel, because I buy way too much nail stuff. So having a little extra money to kind of soften that blow of my purchases, because apparently I'm never gonna stop, is nice to have. So just know that when you support me, it just all goes back into this channel, whether you're watching my videos or whether you're using any of my affiliate links. Just know that I appreciate you. I decided I wanted to do a stamp on my index finger as well, so I'm just trying to pick a color that would match Aqua. And you would think out of the 900 stamping polishes that I have that I would find a color to match Aqua, but I actually didn't, which surprises me. How can you have so many colors and still not have a right color? It always baffles me, and this is how I end up with 12,000 things. But anyway, that is a complete tangent. So I decided to use this darker blue, and I'm just going to go with it. I like the way it looks with the set, even though it doesn't match Aqua. So I just applied the polish to the image. I scraped down at a 45-degree angle to remove that excess polish. And then I rolled my stamper onto the image to pick it up. And then I'm just taking my lint roller to remove any of the excess that's not part of the image that I don't want transferred to my nail. And then I'm just going to align the stamper to my nail, figure out where I want to place that design, and then once I've got that figured out, I'm going to press down to transfer that image to my nail. And this is so cute. I just love the designs that Chelsea came up with. Once my stamping polish is dry, I want to make sure that I'm protecting those designs before I move on to my next step. So I'm using my smudge-free top coat from Maniology, which is my favorite to use. So on my middle finger and index finger, I'm just applying an even layer of that over the image and over my entire nail. And then I'm going to let that completely dry before I move on to my next step. And this is actually pretty quick drying. It probably takes maybe like 3 minutes to completely dry. And once that's dry, I'm going to use my glass from 915 Aesthetics to cap my nails in clear. The only nail that I'm not going to cap in clear is my pinky, and that's because it's got the 3 full dips of mango and then it's activated, but I didn't do anything on top of it, so that's already ready to be filed and buffed. But for like my glitters and then my stamp designs, I want to make sure I'm protecting them before I file and buff. So I'm just taking my dip base and I'm applying a thin, even layer of that to my entire nail, and then I will dip into glass. So when I'm working with any clear, I always make sure that I do a little extra dip base because I want to make sure that the clear is fully absorbed into that dip base. So it may seem like it's too much dip base, but it's better to have a little bit too much. I mean, you don't want to flood, but it's better to have too much so that clear can fully absorb into it. Because if it gets to that like almost fully absorbed state, so it's kind of halfway absorbed, halfway not, that's when you can run into issues with any like cloudiness or graininess. But I do find that this glass is actually really super clear, so it is a good one. But regardless of clears that I'm using, I always make sure that I do a little more dip base and making sure that it's being fully absorbed. And once your nails are completely dry, you want to make sure that you're scrubbing off any excess clear with a stiff scrub brush. If you use just a regular dust brush, which like the dust brush that I used for my regular mani, you're going to get off some of the clear, but not all of it, which also could cause some graininess and cloudiness. So always make sure to give your nails a good scrub. I went ahead and filed and buffed off camera, so here's how the mani's looking. So you can see the glitters laid super flat. I didn't file through any of them, and I just love these stamping designs. I am so happy with the way this is turning out, but nothing finishes it off like dip top coat. So in order for dip top coat to dry, you do need one final layer of activator. So I'm going ahead and applying a thin layer of activator to all my nails, and then I'm going to let that dry for a full 2 minutes, and then I will get into my dip top coat. For my first layer of dip top coat, I'm applying it in 2 to 3 swipes on each nail. I want to be fairly quick about it. I don't want to linger on the nail. And in between each nail, I'm making sure to wipe my brush on a lint-free wipe to remove any excess activator because I don't want to contaminate my brush and harden it. And then once I'm done with my 5th nail, I'm ready to go in with my 2nd layer of dip top coat. So for my 2nd layer, I can take a couple more strokes. I want to make sure that my entire nail is covered. And I also want to make sure that I'm capping my free edge. As always, I'm going to finish off my mani by rehydrating my cuticles with my Scales of Mermaid cuticle oil. This is in the scent Catch Me at the Fair, and this is a previous limited edition scent that's no longer available, and this is actually before my Scales of a Mermaid time. The only reason I was able to get this scent is because every so often Pat does a vault where you're able to vote back previous scents that you can order for a limited time, so this was one of them, and I'm so glad because it's just this really great cotton candy scent, but it's not like overly sweet. It's just this really great balance. So that pretty much wraps up today's video, and I'm sorry it was kind of less of a tutorial and more of me rambling. I just all of a sudden realized when I was talking about Chelsea that I don't think in almost 2 years that I've ever explained to you like why I'm here or what I'm doing here, so I figured maybe you'd want to know that. I don't know. So anyway, I hope this video was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up. It lets me know to continue creating content like this. And it also helps YouTube recommend me to others, which helps grow my channel. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I upload content every Monday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.